G'day guys, welcome back to another week of building the Vanguard Models Brig adder. This week we'll take off from where we left off last week. I think this is step 14. We have a number of parts that we have to put in place. We've got 33 and 34, and then we've got 155s and 154s. They show us in this photo where they have to go. But they also mention that in plan number 4, they also show the correct positioning of each part. So between the two, we should get it correct. So I'll get those parts out and then we'll start the build again. Okay, I'm going to work from back to front, starting with part 33, which will be going just in front of frame 12. There's a slightly wider notch in those braces there. Okay. And then we have 4 155s, which also have their own notches, so they're by level with frame 11, and then between 11 and 10, between 10 and 9, and then there's another one just behind 9 there. And these pieces are also notched, so it's obvious which way they go in. It might actually be easier just to put the glue on these parts. Oops. Okay, and then we have 2 part 154s, and we also have 2 notches here, which is just behind frame 7 and then just ahead of frame 7. I like the way everything just fits together so perfectly so far with this kit. Okay. And then finally we have parts 34, 2 of them. They will be sitting either side of here. Again, there's 2 notches that meet up with those 2 notches, so I'll just get some glue on there. Okay. Okay, and that's all those pieces now done. Okay, so next up we've got part 15, and we're going to be adding parts 17 and 18, I believe they are, yes, 17 and 18. It doesn't say anything about gluing them in place, so we'll just be slotting them in. So I'll grab the ship again and we'll do that. Okay, we have two part 18s which go on the bottom. We've got these tabs or holes here that these tabs go into. So just slot them in there. As I said, they don't have to be glued. Push it all the way back. The same on the other side. That goes all the way back as well. And then we have two part 17s which go in the holes above. Okay. There we go, so that's all slotted in place. It's hard back against that edge. Okay, now we've got part 16 where we're going to drop the false deck into place. This is part 35. It shows we've just got to, looks like flex it a little bit just to get it on there. I just had a quick look a minute ago and it looks like it will go through reasonably easy. It's only 0.8mm thick, so I was a little bit worried we could break it, but it doesn't look like it needs too much flex at all. So all we'll be doing is applying white glue to the bulkheads and frames under here. We don't put any glue, oops, we'll try and go that way, to part 18, I think the top one was. 18, we don't put any glue on here, so just on the frames, and then we pop it on. So we'll do that now. Before I actually apply glue to this, I've just been over it and given it a quick sand where different parts intersect, just to make sure they're nice and flat. Everything is, I had one spot back here somewhere where it was a fraction of a millimetre too high, but everything's nice and lined up now. As I said, 99% of it's perfect. So I'll just rub some glue and we'll start getting that ready. As you can see, I've already started, because otherwise it'll take forever on video. I'm just going all the top faces, getting a bit of glue on there. So when we put the deck down, it should stay in place. The way the rest of the build's gone, I'm pretty confident this is actually going to sit in nice and firmly. There'll be no need to nail it down. Having said that, I'll probably prove wrong now, but I'm pretty confident. As I said, we don't put any glue on part 17 across here. I believe that's all ready to go, so we'll start off with trying to line up the top of the bulkheads. over quite easily so far. I might pull that out and bend it the other way. Let's see. Trying to get it to flex the opposite direction to what it currently is. Okay, definitely heard that click into place. Everything lines up well. Okay, I've just, not sure if we can see, just had a look under here. It's touching on every spot it's supposed to be, on top of the bulkhead as well as on top of this support that you can see in here, all the way around. So I'll leave that to dry and then we'll take a look at the next step. Okay, next up we've got these parts 19 through to 23 that will be fitting around the bow area. Again, it doesn't say to glue it. What it does say is once these are fitted, we can use watered down PVA underneath. I think it's here somewhere. Yes, you can paint under this area with watered down PVA to lock everything in place. So it looks like we'll be preparing the hull with sanding. So I'll get the parts out and then we'll start that. As you can see, I've already put in parts 19 through to 23. All of them are level with these bulkheads coming around, except the inside one, number 19, that sits lower. So there's no point showing doing both sides as they're exactly the same. So we'll just slot these in. So it's 19. Then we have 20. And 21. Just got to make sure it's pushed right back against. It's difficult to see the shades in there, but that's going right back against that bulkhead there. Then we have 22. And then finally 23. This one's a little bit different to the rest. It's just got a notch at the bottom which just sits on top of this, I think it was number 18 down the bottom there, so that just slots in. That's not quite there. Actually quite difficult with the camera there. Let's see how we go. That's that whole front section now done. As I said, that's not glued. But it does say now we can brush down the whole assembly with watered down PVA glue under the lower and upper decks as well as the bow frames. So all this section, and then underneath here where all the bulkheads meet the skeleton of the ship there. So I'll get some watered down PVA ready and we'll do that. Okay, I've made up some watered down PVA glue. It's literally not much thicker than water. And if we can see what I'm doing, anywhere where a couple of parts butt up against each other, I'm just getting some glue into the joints where the parts meet. So literally all the way, the whole length of the ship. It's actually really firm, but this is just making sure that everything stays together. So far everything just fits really well. Probably better than any other kit I've seen. So I'm going to be continuing just to finish this side off, and then I'll go do the other side on my own, and I'll come back once this is all fully dry, because we have to do some sanding in preparation for planking and putting the bulwarks on. Hopefully we'll get to that stage of putting the bulwarks on in this week's video, because that's going to be a job in itself. It's quite thin wood, and you can either soak them in water, put them on, clamp them on rather, but you need to leave it 2 days for that water to fully dry before you take them off. Or the instructions say you can just slowly bend it around, taking your time, and it shouldn't break. And I've seen a few build logs say the same thing, that if you take it slowly it should fit in place quite well. So as I said, I'll leave this to dry and then I'll return. Okay, step 21. We've got to remove the keel from its spacing frame, which see they show the spacing frame there. We're just going to be cutting the tabs and then sanding that off once we finish that. And these are all the tabs we've got to break off. Already started, I've done a couple on the back here. They're not hard to cut at all. So that's off. Let's give these tabs a bit of a sand. Okay, so I'll just keep going with that and then I'll return. Okay, or step 22, we've got to start sanding the hull in preparation for adding the bulwarks as well as the planking. So I'll just grab the ship and we'll start doing that. As you can see, I've already done one side, and what the idea is, we have to make sure that when we plank the ship, it's hard to see that everything is flat against every single bulkhead. There's no partial touches on anything. It has to be nice and flush all the way around as it is on this side. Have to be a little bit careful when you're sanding, because as you can see here, I've actually bent that one, top of that bulkhead over, which I don't think matters because we're going to be taking these off anyway, but I didn't push it any further than that. So I've just got one of these 80 grit sanding files or sticks or whatever you want to call it, and then I just literally follow the hull. Once all the laser burns are gone, you'll know you're starting to get close. Took me about 20 minutes to do the other side. I won't show the whole of this being done, otherwise this video will end up being a couple of hours long.
once you get past about the 4th bulkhead, the rest of them stay nice and straight. This deck is protruding probably less than a millimetre out, so just want to get that nice and flush as well down the side there. And then we also want to make sure around here is done so the bolwarks sit nice and flush against them as well. We do the same thing at the back because we want it to come up nice and evenly with that transom there. So we'll have a tiny bit of a bevel on that edge as well. As you can see, because that's a long straight piece, we're getting the angle we want on each bulkhead nice and evenly. So once this is done, I'll show you. I'll put the plank against it and everything should be nice and flat and smooth from that point. You can see that everything's nice and flat. I guess it's probably a little bit more towards this side. And that's pretty well exactly what we want. Everything's touching nice and evenly across the full width of the bulkhead. So I'll go ahead and just do the rest of this to make sure it's nice and smooth, and then we'll come back. Okay, that's all done and smooth. Now get our plank. Everything's perfectly against a bulkhead. Bring it all the way down, and it's the same, just touches the full width of the strip on every bulkhead, including at the rear. So that's fully touching on each bulkhead, and we have that slight angle on the transom as well, so it's just flat against that. Hopefully that's coming up on camera, but yeah, you can see it's fully touching all the way along, as well as around the top of the bulkheads, because that's where the what am I trying to think of? That's where the bulwarks are going to sit. So yes, that all sits beautifully. So we'll take a look at what's next, and that'll probably be it for this week. Okay, next up we've got to fit the prow in place, which is part 149, and we have some other parts that have to sit either side of it to strengthen it, I'd imagine. So I've got to get these pieces out, fit that to the front of the ship. The rest of the keel isn't done yet, that's still a few steps away. So we'll get this done, and then that would probably do for this week, because then next week we'll be fitting the bulwarks to the side of the ship, and then I'd imagine we'll be planking it. Okay, we'll start assembling and fitting the prow. We've got the prow itself, which is part 149. We have two parts, 91 and 92. Sorry, two part 91s. And then this tiny one, which is part 92, which locks everything together. So I've already done a test fit, and everything goes together well. It's all going to be fitting into this little slot at the back here. I'll just get a bit of glue in there. Then we take that part 92 and slide it in, so it goes through about halfway. Now, just a little bit of glue the whole length of that, and then we take part 91. I don't know if you can see, the top of that angles slightly up, so that goes to the top. It does go in, it's just difficult to line up. There we go. Let me turn the other side. A little bit of glue. The angled part up again. There we go. Just clean that up. So we'll leave this to dry, and then because this little key piece here does protrude a touch, we'll sand that back, as well as just the front edge of the bolster here, because I believe this slot is where the start of the bulwarks is going to slide into. So we just need that little bit of a curve to it, so it just follows that nice even line in. So I'll just leave that to dry, and then we can do that little bit of sanding and fit it to the ship. Okay, now that's dry, I'll just take off the tiny bit of excess on that little key part there. And then the forward edge, I'll just put a little bit of a angle on that. Probably would have been easier if I'd done this before I put it on. Right, and the same on the other side. That's about right. So I'll just grab some glue and we'll put that on the ship. Okay, I'll just do a dry fit to make sure everything. So we have a slot in here and a slot down the bottom that it will slide into. Then it literally, this part sits just on top of the deck. It goes in nicely. There's another notch down here that this part is sitting in, and then once it's in correctly, that will sit on the bottom of the keel there. These gaps are supposed to be there, as you can see around here. So we'll just get some glue on there. Brush. Okay, I just need to get something to clamp that with. Okay, that's all dried in place now. Got the deck on, all the framework's finished, we're sanded up and got the prow on there. So I believe next video we'll be adding the bulwarks to the ship, as well as starting the planking. So thanks for joining me, and hope to see you next time. Cheers.